Let's get perspectives this morning from two gentlemen joining us. SP Wasiu Abiodun is police PRO in Niger State. He joins us virtually. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, sir.
Okay. And we also have Dr. Kabiru Adamu, who is a security and intelligence consultant. He's also the managing director, Beacon Security and Intelligence Limited. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Adamu. Okay. Well, we'll get his audio in. But SP Abiodun, if you don't mind just giving us a quick update, exactly what happened and what should we be looking at?
I can't hear the studio.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Abiodun? Mr. Abiodun, can you hear us now? Okay, while we wait for Mr. Abiodun to join us. Dr. Adamu, you're in our Abuja studio. Mr. Abiodun, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
Okay, we can hear you now. We couldn't hear you earlier. So now, please give us an update. What exactly happened, and is this something we saw coming?
I can barely hear you from my side. The audio is just breaking.
If you can hear me at all, just please go ahead. Give us an update. All right, well, when we're able to resolve that, we'll definitely bring it all back. Okay, well, Dr. Adamu, if you can hear me, what do you make of this? One of the things that I said earlier on when we were having conversations about this whole thing is that it seems to be a flurry. And this is like a wave. And it's happened a few times. There are those who are always pointing at political permutations. We don't hear these things happen during elections, but before elections, we hear of them. The areas where there are insecurity challenges, they have elections, they have representatives, we have results from them, but then here we are. What do you make of all of these? Dr. Adamu.
Good morning, Ayo. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you very well. Please go ahead.
All right. I mean, there are a multitude of factors at play. Some of them, the threat actors themselves. When we sat down and tried to analyze the number of threat factors that we have at the moment in Nigeria, we counted 80 different groups, disparate groups across the country that are active and that have the capacity and capability to attack. And over time, for some odd reasons, we've not done very well in terms of limiting their ability to raise funds, their ability to acquire weapons, their ability to recruit new members. And then the most disturbing one, is their ability to move from point A to point B. If you look at the incident that happened in Kebbi, as well as the one that happened in Niger State, and then, of course, the one in Kwara State, the information at our disposal is that they moved from long distances and came to where they carried out the attacks. In some instances on motorbikes, in hordes. By hordes, I mean sometimes 50 or 100 of them moving together. So we've not done much in terms of the ability to stop that movement. And I think this is a responsibility that the entire national security enterprise should take. And then, of course, we need to start dealing with that. We can't, for instance, continue to speak about the same thing, and yet we are not doing those very important things that should stop these groups from having. Anyone who understands crime knows that once there is an intention to commit crime, the next thing is to look at the target. Is the target available? And in this instance, the targets are available. They attack soft targets, religious places of worship, educational institutions, and then, of course, sometimes block highways or even go to rural communities and carry that attack. And then, of course, the last point in that crime triangle is the benefit they get when they carry out those attacks. In the case of the Kwara incident, they are demanding for about 3 billion. I mean, as ridiculous as that may sound, in some instances, they actually get paid that money. In the case of the incident in Birnin Kebbi of the students, they are already in contact with the the parents of the pupils, and they are beginning to make demands. So all of these are part of the reasons why these issues are the way they are, that we've not been able to address them.
Okay. Well, I'll come back to you on that matter, Dr. Adamu, but let me check if we can get to Mr. Abiodun. Mr. Abiodun, can you hear us well?
Yes, you are clear now.
Wonderful. So please give us an update. What exactly happened in Niger State? Did we see it coming?
Okay, thank you very much. What really happened on the 21st of November was yesterday at the early hour of the day. We got a report that around 2 a.m. Some Niger State Akwara local government area to these hoodlums invaded this school at that early hour of the day, and the school is a school with boarding facility where you have primary and secondary school facility in that school. And immediately we got that report. Unfortunately, these hoodlums they carted away a good number of students from this school, and then we had to move in a detachment of the command led by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations was moved there, and even the military component within New Kanji axis had to also move there, and other agencies, intelligence agents and other agencies, we were on ground, and we've been working adequately to see what can be done operationally to rescue these students. And the operation is ongoing. We may not be able to spell out what are the efforts, what are the measures being put in place to rescue these students. But this is the situation on ground.
Do we have any numbers as of now, Mr. Abiodun?
Yes, as at the last contact yesterday, because the location is a very difficult location with network accessibility being difficult. The last contact we had yesterday, as at that yesterday, we had a confirmation of about 9 staff, and I think as I'm speaking with you, there's possibility of having increasing number of staff who were involved. And apart from the number of staff given to us as part of victims, we also got a report of about 14 secondary school students who were part of the victims, and a large number of the primary school students. Although the number kept increasing, just as I said, as at yesterday, the last report, we had over 150 of them, and the number kept increasing because there were speculations that some students escaped, and having their parents coming forward, they have not seen their parents, then that makes the head count get increasing. So we cannot be able to categorically tell you this is the actual number of the abducted victims, as the head count and verification is still ongoing. But I'm very sure as soon as we have a round figure, we'll definitely confirm the exact figure of the victims involved in this abduction.
Just to be clear, you said the first figure you got was about 150. I'm
Yes.
talking about the students now, but that the number has now varies because some of them escaped. About 14 of them escaped. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I said at the last report, we got a report of 9 staff were part of the victims abducted. And apart from these 9 staff, we also got a report of 14 secondary school students to be victims, and a large number of primary school pupils were also victims. But as at the last count, we have counted over 150 of them to be victims. And along the line, there was speculation of some students probably escaped. But the parents later surfaced based on the head count and verification. The number keeps increasing. So we cannot categorically tell you that this is the exact figure of the abducted students for now.
Just to also be clear, do you have any idea of how many people invaded the school? Because if you listen to what Dr. Adamu said, that some of these people came from quite a distance away from the location of the crime. So do you have any idea where they came from, how many they were, and all of that?
Yes, you may not be able to have an idea of the numbers of these hoodlums or insurgents, as the case may be, but the issue is that we've been having some pocket of challenges around Aguara local government and Progo local government, because if you recall, there's a border axis in that area, Babana, which share boundary with Niger, Republic of Benin, rather. And pocket of incidents around the area have been happening. And those incidences should have served as a warning signal, early warning signals for the school authority to know that their location is being surrounded by some of these insurgents with the happenings around. I think the last incident is where we have a rep member being attacked while he was visiting his constituency, and the joint security team in his convoy were able to repel that attack and rescue him, and with a couple of other incidents. So it shows that the location of that school is being surrounded by the presence of these insurgents, and this is what we have at the end.
If I can just come to you, Dr. Adamu, from what he said, we're talking about distances now. The insurgents, or the kidnappers, came from far-flung places. The first thing I want to ask is, so how easy, was it to move a large number of victims, even though the incident took place at ungodly hours, if I can put it that way? How easy, if they came on motorcycles and, or on foot or what have you, how easy is it to move a large number of victims away from there, and, and they're kept hidden somewhere that nobody knows? That's the first thing. And then the second is that there's a lot of reasons that people are putting out there that these abductions and attacks are happening at this time. Why do you think these attacks are happening now?
The first part of your question, how easy it is, they capitalize on fear. The students and their teachers and whoever it is that they meet in the locations where they attack are not prepared. As a country, we haven't done well to increase the resilience of our people to understand what they need to do. For schools, there is the Safe School Initiative. There is the Safe School Declaration. There is the National Policy on Safety, Security, and Violence-Free Schools. All of this that I've mentioned have been in existence for almost a decade, apart from the last one, the National Policy, which was introduced in 2021. Unfortunately, we haven't done much to implement these policies in a manner that makes our schools, the vulnerabilities in the schools to reduce and to make them resilient. So these bad guys capitalize on these vulnerabilities. They capitalize on fear to kind of hoard their victims under the cover of night. And then, of course, the absence of security agencies to move them into those forests. So on the one hand, it is easy because the victim is not prepared and doesn't know what to do. On the other hand, it's also difficult in the sense that moving such a huge number, and most times they are spread. So you have a group that would stay to protect this one that I've carried out. And then, of course, when they are moving them mostly in a line like that. So that's how come some of them are able to escape. Like I said, on the one hand, it's easy. On the other hand, it's not that easy. If, for instance, we've prepared the students, we've prepared the teachers, as expected under the Safe School Initiative and the National Policy, as well as the Safe School Declaration, then we won't be discussing this topic. And I think this is perhaps where, as a country, we need to ask the critical question, in spite of all the monies that have been devoted to these three policies that I've mentioned, plus a loan that we collected from the World Bank under a program called Agile, that is also supposed to have a security component. How come our schools are still vulnerable and we're having the types of incidents that we're recording in our schools? The second part of your question as to why we're seeing this number of occurrences at the moment, like I mentioned in my opening remarks, there are political factors, some of them domestic. The drums of the 2027 elections have already started beating. The dynamics, are at play. Political parties, we're seeing a lot of movement here and there. Governance, unfortunately, has been put to the back burner. And so gaps have been created that are being exploited by these non-state armed groups, 80 of them. And it's very easy for any one of them to be instigated by the political class to carry out this action. On the other hand, the weaknesses that have been created as a result of the absence of governance can also be exploited. The second one is the geopolitical element. President Trump issued a statement. Unfortunately, it has created a division within the Nigerian space. The umbrella of Organization for Christians in Nigeria, which is CAN, is supporting the statement. The Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs is not supporting that statement. We haven't seen much in terms of what government is doing to bring these two sides together. So that too is another chasm that is being exploited by the non-state actors. You have socioeconomic conditions. A bag of maize at the moment is going for 20,000 naira from almost 100,000 naira that it was like a year ago. Farmers who had invested in maize unfortunately cannot recoup their investment. So those grievances associated with the socioeconomic conditions are also drivers. Then you also have environmental factors. The climate change element that is moving people from point A to point B is also kind of leading to this. And then, of course, the security weakness itself. We have what traditionally should be a national security enterprise, a formation of almost about 42 organizations that should have responsibility for protecting us. But sadly, we seem to lay too much emphasis on the military. Every time we discuss these things, we only kind of highlight the role of the military. I'm delighted that you have a policeman there.
Absolutely.
Which is part of the first time I'm seeing the police discuss this issue. So these are some of the challenges why we're seeing an increase.
I find it actually very, very exciting that you talked about some of those issues, Dr. Adamu. And I'm also quite disturbed by the fact that the chasm you said has been created, and we all don't seem to see that the narratives we are putting out is contributing more to the divide than it is to the unity. But to the issue at hand, lastly, Mr. Abiodun, as at 2021, 2023, the governor of Niger State says the number of policemen in the state have continually decreased. And that probably also lays credence to whether the availability or sufficient number of policemen to anticipate whatever the issues could be that could arise from time to time. Do you see that as a factor in this case? And secondly, as we round off, Mr. Abiodun, how soon before we hear some final figures from the police about this issue?
Okay, thank you very much. It is not a news again that Niger State is the largest state in the country with the highest baseline. And we have 25 local governments in the state. But the number of policemen we have in the state, we are using what we have judiciously to police the state to the best of our ability. Nevertheless, this is a national issue. We've been having some of these issues. And recently, if you recall, we had a similar issue in Niger State where some of the students were also abducted in one of our community here in Tegina. And I think the government made pronouncement as a proactive measure to avoid the reoccurrence where schools in vulnerable areas, some of our local government that are experiencing some of these challenges, for example, Shiruro local government, in Lafi local government, parts of Puntagura, Rijo, Nasco, Mariga. These measures were pronounced that schools running boarding facilities should temporarily shut down and relocate some of these students to schools where we have schools that are in safe locations. And even some of the government schools in this area, for example, in Tegina, which is in Rafi local government, Pandugari, even in Shiroro, and parts of Mariga, Rijo, Nash, they shut down, and some of these students, or most of these students were relocated to schools where their locations are safe. So this is a proactive measure to prevent the occurrence, and this is a measure being taken by the government in collaboration with security agencies. And as I speak with you, some of these schools are still being shut down, and it does not mean that it affects the educational activities of our students. They were relocated to safer locations where they are still having their education.
Just to be clear, Mr. Abiodun, I apologize for butting in because we are really running out of time. I just wanted you to confirm that the number of policemen you said you are using, what you have, and of course, rightly so, you have to be as proactive as can be. But are you confirming the words of the governor that the number of policemen in Niger State is circa 4,000?
I think relatively we are more than that now with the recent passing out of the last constables who were deployed to command. The Niger State Police Command received over 200 of them, which augment the capacity of the command. And from time to time, as part of routine in the police, we have transfer in and out. So the reasonable number we have is still helping. However, it's a routine in the police force. From time to time, you get more manpower to boost your capacity in the state.
Well, let me say that that's a political response to it, but thank you so much for your perspective. SP Wasiu Abiodun is the police PRO in Niger State, and we can only wish you the best and hope that you yourself will stay safe and do whatever you can to protect your men. And we've also had Dr. Kabiru Adamu, Security and Intelligence Consultant and MD CEO of Beacon Security and Intelligence. We appreciate your time, Dr. Adamu, and of course you can be sure that we'll keep on reaching out to you because the information you've given us are quite valuable. Thank you so much once more.
Thank you for having me.